Visit atwsource.com to take the next step along your path of awakening. You're listening to Awakening Truth, Worldwide Radio, and its network of radio shows. Presented by the teachers of Awakening Truth Worldwide, where spirituality, truth, and consciousness collide.
Welcome to A Guiding Light. I'm Dr. Joseph Marra, and my co-host tonight is Vanessa De Silva. Tonight we have another double header. First hour, Norma Hollis will discuss the possibility of healing the body, relationships, and even money. Norma may just have a prescription for your life transformation. Second hour, we have a mass global meditation and discussion with Alfred Webre. Many guests from all over the planet will be joining in and adding their piece to the puzzle and their individual light from that part of the world for the purpose of bringing in more global light, increasing overall consciousness, and connecting humanity like never before. Tune in as we discuss the possibilities. First up, Norma Hollis. Welcome to A Guiding Light.
Thank you, Joe. What a delight to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, Norma, for those listeners who may not know of your work yet, could you describe a little bit about what you do, the modalities that you're into, and maybe how you got to where you are today with your healing process?
Well, interesting. In terms of healing, I am probably not one of the traditional type healers that you might have on your show, or I should say maybe even well-defined. The kind of healing that I do is on a deep personal, spiritual level. I help people reconnect with themselves and become more authentic. I help people to heal the damage, if you will, that was done between the time of their birth and current. And I help people to reconnect with the natural gifts and talents that they were born with and help them to find ways to be self-sustaining in those gifts and talents. I'm called an authentic voice doctor, America's leading authentic voice doctor, because essentially what I do is give people prescriptions for returning to their authentic voice, to reconnect with the deeper side of themselves. In the process, I also help people to remember who they are and who they were and what past lives they may have been in, not through any kind of regression or hypnotherapy or anything, but just through conversation and through sharing stories. So I don't know what kind of healer to call that, but people find when I work with people through my authenticity process, sometimes we don't know what we're healing, but in the process they heal. For example, I have one lady who, after being obese for over 40 years, got involved in my program and released over 100 pounds in 11 months because she began to heal from her memories of being abused, both when she was 2 years old and when she was 12 years old. Another lady had a tremendous modification in her life because she retired from a male-dominated industry where she was a sales manager. And through the process of working with me, she reconnected with her own relationship with herself and healed from some childhood scars and childhood decisions that she made that kept her single and childless and fairly unhappy. And she resolved that and now she has her own nonprofit. She's dating, and her life is just turned around. So it's just interesting. I help people become more authentic and heal them from their lack of authenticity.
Wow, that's really interesting. So how busy are you? I mean, this is a unique thing. Do a lot of people come to you, and how do they find out about you?
Well, they find out about me through a lot of word of mouth. More of that seems to be coming up now. I had someone call last week who found me through social media. You know, I started my healing not knowing that I was a healer. I mean, knowing it at one level, but not knowing it at another level. And a lot of people who come to me are people who are in or want to be in the speaking industry, because for 15 years I ran a speakers bureau. And a lot of people came to me that way. And that was when Internet was just getting started. It was an African-American bureau, so the African-American speakers out there in the world found me, and, that kind of got things started. But I've grown so much beyond that now. So I do a lot of radio, a lot of telesummits, some live events, and I'm always looking to do more. So people find me, it's just interesting. I put the word out to Spirit that I need more students, and they just show up.
Wonderful. My co-host, Vanessa, would like to ask you a question.
Hi, Norma.
Sure. Hi, Vanessa. Hi.
Hi. Nice to meet you. What you do sounds really interesting, and it almost sounds like a life coaching type thing with more of a deeper kind of spiritual connection. Would you say that some of your clients are looking for that type of life coaching?
Yes, I would say that it is a life coaching. I call it authenticity coaching. I also call it alignment coaching, and I also call it vibration coaching, because essentially what I do is I have a system that took me 30 years to develop, and I have summarized it into an assessment. So people take my authenticity assessment, and based on their score on these 9 questions, then we work on whichever they scored lowest on to help them become more authentic in that particular dimension. And then once we do that, then we align all 9 dimensions so they have some kind of balance among these 9 energies. And we find that once we do that, people's vibrations raise, and therefore they can attract to themselves more of what they really want in life. So, if we come up with a new name for it today, that'd be great, because it's a little deeper than life coaching, and it's not exactly spiritual coaching, but so I don't know really what to call it. We're still defining it, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, that's interesting. One of the things that you said that really piqued my interest was that you work with people, you said just through conversation and discovering their past lives and the influence their past lives have on their present life. What types of things come up? Do people bring traits and characteristics and say talents from past lives, or is it a matter of releasing old traumas from past lives? Are they using what they have from past lives, or are they dropping those things and releasing them?
Well, I think it's more remembering, because what happens is when I talk with people and I share with them my before birth memories, then it's almost as if it gives them permission to talk about or at least to remember that they did have prior lives, and to remember the assignment that they were given. Somehow in my communication with people, I do a spirit-to-spirit kind of connection that's a soul-to-soul level, and it really seems to help them remember that, dang, I had a purpose when I came here, and, it's back there somewhere, and it's because of what you said, Norma, it's kind of knocking now trying to get out. So let me pull it out. And so it's that kind of remembering that they do.
Oh, so it's like getting in touch with their soul contract and understanding what they're really here for.
Yeah, it is like that. Thank you for those words. That's exactly what it is. And I also have people across the country that I call my authenticity ambassadors. And these are people who I have been training anywhere between 2 and 10 years. And they also coach and align and help people raise their vibrations as well.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier on about the healing of the body, relationships, and even money. How could you maybe give the listeners a taste of how one could heal with a money issue?
Well, part of the money issue, in my perspective, is strictly that, perspective. And we spend so much time on the planet talking about money, and as opposed to talking about abundance. And one of the things that I do with people is really help them to put, I call it, the dimension that I call it net wealth. I don't call it money, I call it net wealth. And I have people look at the totality of their life and where their abundance lies. If we focus on money alone, pretty much all of us will end up falling short. when I think about money and people who have talked about money, I think about Oprah. And I've heard it said that Oprah doesn't feel she has enough money because she wants to heal Africa, and she can't do it because she can't afford to do it. What she can do is bring abundance to Africa, which she has done in many ways, educational schools that she's putting together, other things that she's doing in Africa. So it's a matter of perspective. And then once the angst and the anxiety is removed, because the change of perspective is raising the vibration, which changes how you look at it, then you open the doors to attract the finances that you're looking for, just by a change of perspective. So that's kind of how I would approach it.
Yeah. Do you find, or had you found in the past that it was difficult, or you had to be discernible about who you talk to and how you talk to them, as far as like religion and things like that? Because as soon as you get into past lives, I've found in the past that some people feel that you only live one life and you have to get it right, or you go to heaven or hell or purgatory. So how do you get around that, or how do you deal with that?
Joe, that's been a challenge I've had all of my life, starting with my very traditional father, who was a dentist. And I remember when he was, 75 or so, and I was telling him about taking the mercury out of my mouth to remove it because it was toxic, and all the things we learned about that. And he was so staunchly adamant that when he went to medical school 50 so years ago, mercury was fine, so it's got to be fine now. So, that kind of mentality all my life I try. He was my most difficult challenge, and I never succeeded in helping him to see the difference. So what I learned early in life is I just don't talk about these things, because my whole family was traditional. I thought something was wrong with them, and I was the one. I didn't know what was up, but they never really understood where I was coming from. So, I learned to not trust myself. I learned to have low self-confidence because they never validated, who I was and what I had been going through. And it's only been a course of time and through my own voices and my own spiritual quest that I've been able to go beyond that and feel free enough to talk about it and then pick my people. And I recognize I'm real clear that most of the planet doesn't see the world the way that I see the world, and that's fine. But that doesn't change how I see the world. So I just pick my people, which is why I'm glad to have found you.
Yeah. Growing up, I had, and many of us that are outside the box, so to speak, or see things from a different perspective, have had challenges, including our family and our friends. And the more you wake up or remember who you are, it's difficult sometimes to even live in the community because things just don't suit you or fit you anymore. And
they don't make sense, yeah.
Yeah, and then sometimes people don't understand you from the beginning, and then whenever you decide to move away, kind of like I did recently, they don't understand why you're giving everything up. And to me, it wasn't that I was giving all that much up. It was just stuff, basically, and I was moving in the direction of my heart rather than my head. And we found our way out here to New Mexico from Pennsylvania and Illinois, and it's just beautiful out here, and it's wonderful, and it's just something you can't even describe. It's almost even talking about spirituality. It has this synchronization to it, like almost like, so when I tell my family how beautiful it is here, they don't get it because they're just not there. They just, well, how could anything be as nice as back home? That's basically
right.
what I get.
Yeah, one of my ambassadors actually lives in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and he talks about how advanced, we talk on our calls about the different parts of the United States and where their consciousness is. And Santa Fe, from what I can tell, is, New Mexico itself is a very high conscious level.
Yeah,
so,
that is
that's
true.
Great.
And you know what? It's funny, even within the state, there's pockets of people, depending, and this gets into ley lines and just different lines of the different states, because within the borders of each state, people believe certain things. And, 10 minutes away or 10 miles away from where we're at is Texas, and it's totally different from the culture to the food to the everything. It is so funny because, and they even say, oh, you're from this town in New Mexico. And we're like, well, it's only 10 minutes away. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it is amazing. But the consciousness, is just so varied on so many parts of the planet, of the world. So
Right.
It's just interesting. I'm so thankful to have the view of the world that I do, because it's just so open, and it just opens up so much more richness, and life is just far more enjoyable, I think, from this vantage point.
Absolutely. So I think Vanessa has another question here for you.
Yeah,
all right, Vanessa.
Back to your process for coaching. Do you do your coaching in person, or do you do it like over distance for people who may live in other states or other countries? And what's the process? I know you mentioned a little bit about giving them the survey or test in the beginning, but how does that develop, and how long is the process on average?
Yeah, I do the majority of my coaching on the phone. I really prefer it on the phone because I'm able to get, and it's a different kind of deep that I'm able to get on the phone versus one-on-one, although I do one-on-ones too. I live in L.A., so I have clients all over the world, actually, so most of them are done on the phone, or on Skype. And I have a lot of group programs. The group programs last anywhere from a year to 2 years or longer. And on a one-on-one side, I generally don't work with people over a long period of time one-on-one. I have one service where in one 90-minute session, my spirit and I get really deep into a person and give them a roadmap, particularly if it's career-oriented, or especially those that want to be speakers. And I get real deep with them in a 90-minute period and give them a roadmap for moving forward. And then I have, in other programs, I try to do about a 3-month period with a person, because I'm the kind of coach that really I go deep, and I'm very highly intuitive. So I'm able to have spirit-to-spirit conversations and sometimes soul-to-soul conversations. And so they go deeper than head-to-head conversations. So I give people a lot and motivate them and kind of push them and catapult them forward. And I'm also good at giving people roadmaps so that they can see themselves and see what their steps are to move forward. And it does start with the assessment that I give people, because that gives me, the assessment is a way of me reading people. And their scores go on a grid, which I call my authenticity grid. And it's a way to look at their energy and how their energy is aligned and how they're using their energy. And then I can coach them. And I really ask a lot of laser-sharp questions. It's actually my spirit asking a bunch of questions. And, I just read people and then, give them back what spirit and my background tells me to give them.
Yeah, that's interesting, especially that you're using your spirit, and you said you may have a spirit-to-spirit or soul-to-soul connection with these people. Would you say that certain people, depending on their level of awareness or what they're currently doing in their life, would have to make some lifestyle changes and ongoing things to kind of for example, say eating healthier or meditating more? You give them that type of advice as well?
Well, yeah, generally what I do is I encourage my clients to find one thing to modify. And we look at these 9 energies, these 9 dimensions on this assessment, and we look at where they scored lowest in these 9 energies. And what I ask them to do is to pick one thing in the area where they scored lowest and do something different. For example, the girl that lost weight, she just made one dietary change, or just look at dietary change as the one thing that she did and committed to it, and that made the difference. So when you look at a cone, like a cone of ice cream, at the bottom of it, you got the little tip at the bottom. And that little tip, if you break it, it can make a big change in ice cream. And if you plug it up, it's a big change in ice cream. So that little piece, a little change, gives big results. And that's what we look for people to do. Because I'm not trying to I don't use the word I try not to use the word change. I use the word more tweak. To tweak, people don't generally change at a certain age. But you can tweak parts of your life so that it flows more effectively. It flows more in your favor. So change is a really big word, and it's kind of scary. But tweaking is a little easier to accept. So I just ask people to tweak one thing in one dimension and watch what happens.
Yeah, I can see that sometimes just one little difference in the life can, take you on a completely different path. So
completely.
that's interesting. It's just looking, focusing on one as opposed to overwhelming someone with several things that they feel they have to change about themselves or transform.
And they may have several things, but interestingly enough, by just changing the one thing first at a time, sometimes it affects the other things that need to change, and they fall in place
The
first.
dominoes fall.
Yeah, as opposed to trying to do it all at once. That's too much.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming, and it's not going to be as successful.
Right. Would you like to give out your website or your information, how people can contact you and what you're offering right now?
Yes, my website is normahollis.com, NORMAHOLLIS.com. And one of the things they can do on the website, by clicking number 3, they can take the assessment, and there's no charge for the assessment. And another thing I would recommend for them is to look at there's a link on there that says Raise Your Vibration, or they can go to vibrationraising.com. And that really is an overview, a summary of my 30 years of research of the projects that I have completed. And the thing is, once a person takes the assessment, this is like the home study piece. You take the assessment, you find your lowest score, and this is the home study program that guides you right through the process of bringing up your score and picking that one thing. Because you take the assessment, you find your lowest score, and then you have this the workbooks, the summary of the workbooks, and you can go right to the dimension that you're lowest in, work on that one dimension, find the one thing you're going to tweak, and voila, you start in the process of raising your vibrations, alignment, and authenticity. And that's the one that's at vibrationraising.com.
Great. You have said raising your vibration. Do you feel that each individual person on the planet carries a vibratory frequency, and by raising their frequency, they can shed some of the negativities or blockages or attachments that they may have had in a deeper sense?
I absolutely believe that. I think we're all at vibrations. I think that the challenge that many of us have who are on your show, who are listening, who have that awareness, is that our vibrations are just higher than those people who just don't quite see in the way that we do. Because really we're talking about sight, we're talking about perspective. Right. And when I say raise vibrations, I like to relate it to getting in an elevator. And the higher you go up, the smaller things look. And you have a different view, different perspective. Your vibration is raising as it's like, oh, that's interesting, as opposed to facing something on the first floor that looks luminous and unable to get around or to go through. But if you stand over it, sometimes you can see it. You can see the perspective more effectively and know how to maneuver yourself around.
Yeah, exactly. I speak about that a lot, so it's interesting. I wanted to see what your take on that was. So, cool.
We're on the same page. Huh? That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you take callers? Like, if I had a caller that called in right now, would you have a problem with that, or do you do that?
I would be thrilled to take I love taking callers. I'd be delighted.
We have somebody on the line here, and I'm not sure. It looks like they do have a question, so I'm going to try to bring them on. So,
okay.
Okay, caller, welcome to A Guiding Light. Do you have a question for Norma?
Well, actually, I pressed one.
You're breaking up. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
I pressed 1 by mistake.
Oh, okay.
I was just listening.
All right. Well, do you have a question that you could come up with? Is there anything that's been pressing in your mind over the past couple weeks or months or anything like that?
Yeah, there has been.
Well, now's your opportunity.
Yeah. I guess everybody is having, well, not everyone, and they're calling it ascension. Is that correct?
The ascension process?
What's that?
I didn't hear a word she said. It broke up.
Oh, please repeat that, caller.
I'm having a spiritual awakening, and I guess there's something going on on the planet called ascension.
Yes.
And so,
We lost the last couple words you said. You had said about you're having an awakening, and there's a process going on called the ascension process on this planet at this time. And then what were the last couple things you said? What was your question?
My question is, like, I want to be a channeler, and does everybody have that gift?
Norma, the gift of channeling.
Channeling, right.
Interesting question. I'm not sure that everyone does. I think everyone has the ability to well, I guess I would say in a sense, yes. Everyone has the ability to hear the voices. We all have a GPS system. We all have words that come to us, a voice that speaks to us from the inside that no one hears but us. And is that channeling or not? In a sense it is, because you have your voice speaking to you. Now, most of us don't repeat what that voice says. We just take the advice or don't take it and just move forward. But in a sense, to me, that's channeling. I don't know how Joe might feel about it and Vanessa may feel about it, but that's kind of how I see it.
Now, do you help people with that?
Yes, I help you connect. I help you understand your voice. Now, when I talk about voice, inner voice is a major part of my program. And I look at inner voice as three different parts of yourself. First, it's your intuition, how you listen to yourself. Then it's your integrity, the values that you bring to it. And then it's your inspiration, how you're motivated. And the way that I help to look at this is we look at what is your voice saying to you? What do you feel that's being channeled to you? What's your value about that? What do you believe about that? How does that fit in your value system? And then if it fits with your values, how are you inspired to move on it, to act on it? So, yes, I do work with that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
And, Norma, for those who are just tuning in, could you give your website again? Because as they're listening, they could probably contact you for some guidance.
Yes, absolutely. It's normahollis.com, NORMAHOLLIS.com. And while you're there, you want to go to number 3 and take the assessment. And then you also want to sign up for Authentic Tuesdays. Every Tuesday at 5 o'clock Pacific, we have free calls that take you deeper into authenticity. And these are calls that are done by my ambassadors, people that I have been training. And they're taking you deeper to understand more about authenticity and the 9 dimensions. And you can even ask questions on these calls. They're 1 hour long every single week. But you have to register for them in order to get the link and get the information on the call.
Okay, Norma, I have another question, kind of sparked me from the caller's question. You mentioned the awakening process, and how did you awaken yourself? Do you have an interesting story that got you onto this path?
Well, I think my story, my primary story was when I was 8 years old, at the age of 8 and 9. And at the age of 8, I woke up one morning with brown specks on my pillow, and I found out that I had a perforated eardrum, a hole in my eardrum, that was actually an infection. They gave me antibiotics that did not work because I got hives, and then they put me in the hospital. They couldn't find an antibiotic that would stop the infection, so they had to do a culture of the discharge, and they only found one thing that would work. And the next day they had to apply it at the doctor's office, and the application felt like acid on the inside of my head. And I was 8 years old. It was absolutely horrendous. And that was followed by having to go back to the doctor several times to get the application done again. And then the following year, I had regular earaches. They would try to give me shots, eardrops, pills. Nothing would stop the earache. And then one summer, I'm in Buffalo, New York, visiting my grandparents, and the earache comes. And my mother says, call Papa, which got my attention because Papa, her father, was a Baptist minister. And I didn't understand, if the doctors can't stop it with eardrops and shots and pills, what's Grandpa going to do? Well, Grandpa laid me down and told me he could stop the ear from hurting if I would give my life to God. And I asked what that meant, and he said, God must have something important for you to do to give you so much pain at a young age. And I asked if he asked would I give my life, and I said yes. But I asked, could I ask one thing? Could I have the training for what I'm to do by the time I'm 30 so I could have a life of my own? And Grandpa said, he's sure God would grant that. And he prayed, and I went to sleep. So that was the most impactful thing in my life for several reasons. One, because it was clearly for a 9-year-old to be healed, to be quiet, pain to be quieted by prayer, that definitely put me on the God path real early. It was also impactful because just the pain itself, I'm still healing from. It was just horrendous pain that changed who I was in an instant. And so I'm constantly having to heal and remember that that pain changed my thinking, that I don't have to think the way that I did when I was trying to avoid pain as a child. So, it's just interesting what that does to you. And then the third thing that it did impact my life was it put me on a path of 40 years of taking antibiotics, which really played havoc with my body, but I didn't know. So I think that was the start, and then from there it just continued in one way or another. Another critical time was the age of 28 when I wrote a lot of poetry. I was really confused because by then my self-esteem was really low, and I was really confused because here I had all these voices talking to me and all this spiritual stuff, but this traditional family, and it just didn't add up, and I couldn't find the place to make sense of it. So that's when I think the journey really started in terms of me doing my own searching, the writing, a lot of spiritual writing, looking at my destiny, challenging reality. Whose reality are we talking about? So those are the things that kind of began to open me up and put me on a really deep spiritual path.
Okay. One of the things that you had kind of mentioned before the call was that you consider yourself a starseed. How would you describe what a starseed is for the listeners that don't know?
Well, the thing about starseed, when I read about it, it was the first place I have ever read my experience. Because, I have memories of before birth. I have memories of being given my assignment immediately before I came on the planet. I have people in my life now that I remember not only before birth, but remember from previous lifetimes. And I always have been purposeful. I've always had these voices guiding me. This program that I developed that took 30 years to do was not me sitting down saying, I'm going to develop a program. It was the voices saying, this is what you're going to do. When I went to college in interior design, and before my first year was over, I was switched over to early childhood. And I understand now why that was, because that was part of the training process that the voices were putting me on to prepare me for what I'm doing now. So the time when I really got curious about it even more was when I heard about the planets being in alignment coming up on the winter solstice. And I've been working on alignment all my life in terms of human alignment. And the planets are being aligned on my birthday, which is December 21st, the winter solstice. So when all this comes together, it just continues to give me greater curiosity to learn more. And as I've been searching more, and as a matter of fact, about 2 months ago, I finally asked the voices. All my life, these voices have been talking to me. They started actually at 8 when the pain came, and the voices started coming and talking to me, and I would say, so who are you? And if you're really the voice I should listen to, then prove it. And so let me see somebody with red socks, and let me see someone mention the word elephant in the next week, and then I'll know you're the real voice I should listen to. And it happened, and I would test it again. And that's where I gained the confidence to listen to these voices. But I always called it God, and I never knew really where it came from. And then about 2 months ago, I had finished my whole program development. I kind of know what I'm doing. I understand what you guys have me doing to a certain extent. And I've been saying, well, who are you? And so ever since then, all I've been getting is starseeds, Palladian, Sirian, Arcturus, Lemurius. There's all this stuff that I don't know much about at all, but I've been doing a lot of research. And all I know is that whatever I read about them, it's my experience. So I just figure I must be.
That's awesome. I'm so excited for you because you just reached another plateau, that you're going to ascend even further with your awareness and your knowledge base. And wow, I'm so excited for you. It's amazing. And it's great that you're researching these things, because there's a lot of people, like the listener that called in, there's people out there that need direction, but they need it from people that have had personal experiences that have brought them to this particular point. And so that's why I always ask my guests who come on, such as yourself, what does 2012 mean to you? Because some people are calling it the ascension process. Sometimes it's the 2012 phenomenon. I try to stay away from the doom and gloom scenario. I don't think that it's right for us to be even putting that out whether we knew it or not. In my perspective, I don't see it that way. I think it's the unveiling, and the truth is going to come out about how we've been raised and taught in schools and things like that. So what would you say to a listener who would say, what is your beliefs, or what are your thoughts or perspectives on this 2012 phenomenon, or this year that's going on right now?
Well, I would say that it's clearly the opening up. It's the awareness raising. You know, my degree is in early childhood, and that's where I spent my first 20 years on my career. And as I was leaving that industry, that career, I learned about the new children being born. And these are children, if you look at the profile of many of these children from the side, their foreheads extend beyond the nose. Most of us, our foreheads are kind of flat. But these new children have these extended foreheads, and it's like God was making the pineal gland larger so that they could be more receptive to deal with the crazies. I now have read that we're moving from Homo sapiens to Homo luminous.
Right.
And to me, that's defining what these children that we saw 20 years ago or so were coming to the world as. So when you ask about what I think about 2012, what I think is that God is clearly opening up some channels for us, as evidenced by these children, and the Homo luminous that's coming into the world. If it was doom and gloom and the world is ending, why then would God begin to already expose us to our next evolution as human beings? So I think it's a matter of us stepping into our own authenticity, aligning our lives, and allowing our vibrations to raise so that God can work with us, or these energies can work with us to take us and bring us where it is that He wants us to be. Because we've gotten off path. We've gotten off our authentic path. I think it's just an adjustment and alignment to get us back on the path that He intends for us to be on.
Right. Yeah, I love it. That's great. You know, and when you throw in the fact that the DNA that we had only used maybe 3 to 5% of, and of course at one time the scientists were saying how it was all junk, and now the researchers that are not mainstream are coming out and saying that it's not junk, it's just not used yet. And there are more and more studies that are being done that are showing that this DNA is changing. And, you know, if I really wish that would come out in the community, where people would just, like myself, I would go and donate blood and say, okay, tell me, has my DNA ever changed? Or is it in the process of changing from, you know, the typical human being to this Homo luminous? And where are we at in this progression? And the same with the brain. I mean, we only used 8 to 10% of our brain, and I really think that as the vibrations raise, and that's what you're talking about, we're all energy beings, as the energy raises and it comes in from the center of this universe and the planetary alignment, our sun, these higher beings of love and light that you mentioned, as our vibrations raise, as this planet raises, if we don't match or go with her, I just see a lot of people that are having a difficult time adjusting, because the things that you're doing are actually helping raise the vibration. And if you don't do that, then you could have a difficult time. Is the best explanation I can give for that.
It's like you may as well come along with it. So if you keep fighting it, because many people fight it because they don't believe it, and they've been taught not to believe it, and they're scared of it. Right. But you're right. It's best just to go along with it. Go with the flow.
That's it. If you're like water and you go with the flow, and so, yeah, you know, fear, we live in this dualistic world, And, there's love and then there's fear. And if you go with the fear vibration, it's a lower vibratory frequency. And it causes all kind of havoc in our lives. And we're spiritual beings living out a human experience. So what I believe, anyway, I don't like to push my beliefs, but this is how I look at it, is as you raise in your vibration and you go towards this love vibration from the Creator, from God, from the universe, whatever you call it, it's an easier transition. And as you say, we are vibratory beings. We just perceive things with our five senses, which are quite limiting here in this third dimension.
Yes, and actually people are starting to see other things. If you look close enough, people are starting to see fourth dimension, seeing energies walking around and moving around, or within your presence. It's becoming more evident now and more frequent. Yeah,
and so what do you see your work changing at all from what you've learned? I mean, it's obviously a progression, and you just said 2 months ago, all of a sudden you got into this new stuff like the Pleiadians and the Sirians and all that. Do you see that with your studying, because of law of attraction or just because of your heightened awareness, that you're going to attract more and more people that have these questions that we're talking about here today?
Well, I sure hope so. That is the intent. Because it has been pretty challenging not having people around me, or having a challenge finding people of the same mindset. They say that a lot about starseeds, that they lead very lonely lives oftentimes because people don't see their point of view. Everybody goes for people whose values are very similar, who you resonate energy-wise with. But if starseed is something that's there's millions of them on the planet now. There's lots of them. But still connecting with them and finding them and resonating with them, has been challenging in the past. They are coming up now. Like many of my ambassadors are starseeds, without a doubt. And you asked about the evolution. It took me 30 years to develop the program. It took me 4 years to test it, and 2 months to get so far beyond it that I really want to keep going. But I have to, what I'm doing now is training my ambassadors to do the things that I used to do, and I'm going to the next level. And generally what I do is I train them, and I just keep going up some levels and just keep, bringing them with me, because it's just so much further, to go, and it's just so exciting. And I'm the navigator. I'm the pioneer. I love to keep finding new stuff and exploring and sharing more stuff. And so that's, and then having them do others. So my ambassadors now, for example, they do some of my coaching programs. I coach some, and then they coach some. So they coach like on the individual dimensions, where I coach on the bigger piece. So, we're just going to keep growing and developing that.
Yeah, I have another question. Do you find that people who come to you, are they open to the idea of, other dimensions and beings from other dimensions? Are you seeing more and more of that?
Well, some are, and some are very hesitant. I am finding, though, that as I bring it up, I brought it up with my ambassadors only so far, and they've been quite accepting. And like I told them, most of them are probably starseeds anyway, otherwise we wouldn't have the affinity that we do. I'm actually going to start, this week, I have a newsletter that goes out every single Tuesday. And I've decided that the next 5 weeks are going to be my exposure, shake 'em up weeks. Because when I started my list, I was running my speakers bureau, and I transitioned from the bureau to my authenticity work, and now I'm transitioning to my really deeply vibrational work. And I know I'll lose some people along the way, but if I'm going to teach authentic, I need to be authentic. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be my authentic self and let my list know this is who I am, and if they go off, fine. But I really want to attract those people who do have this energy and are not negative towards this energy. I want strictly positive energy, understanding the vibration as part of the people that are in my circle and on my list and that I'm attracting. So, yes, it is making the modification and the evolution.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to do, because I know a lot of people, and myself included, find it hard to find people to kind of connect with who understand. And a lot of times it's just a societal kind of taboo to get into those kind of discussions. And some people may be feeling things and thinking things but they don't want to say something to someone else because they're fearful of judgment or being taken as, being crazy or not understanding. And so I think what you're doing is, opening things up and giving people that chance, or giving them a forum to connect with others that are like-minded. I think that's really cool.
Right. And we're going to start some calls. I mentioned the Tuesday calls that I do that are free. We're starting another set of Tuesday calls after the first set that's going to actually start talking about this. I'm going to start revealing what I'm learning. I mean, I'm researching like every day just about. And I'm going to start once a week sharing some of this that I'm revealing with others so that they can. I'm going to be offering 4 free calls on this new session, actually in July, as we start opening up the conversation. Because it's time to talk about it. Now that the awareness is here, why share it? Why hide it? For example, today, at the church that I go to, where I have visited their preschool program as a way of giving them some feedback, that being my foundation. And one of the girls in that class, she's 5 years old, and there's no doubt in my mind that she's serious rainbow star child. And in fact, her grandmother just asked me for advice just out of the blue today, and I was so glad she did, because I was able to give her some real concrete things to work with this child on to make sure that she has every advantage to bring to the world, because this is a child that I can clearly see has come to the world to bring something to the world. And all it takes is for adults to tell her, no, don't say that, to break her spirit, or in other ways minimize this great gift that she has. And so I told her that, one of the things I realized for me, I realized it early, is that I did come to the planet 30 years early to experience life as a starseed, in an unknown environment, so I could help those coming along. And I recognize now that's why I got moved into early childhood from interior design, so I could understand the human developmental process, so I could help the parents work with these starseed children who are bringing to the planet healing stuff beyond what we even know now. But if they are stuck in the traditional educational system and traditional family consciousness that doesn't allow a child like that to thrive, then that's going to hold back the gifts that they came to the planet to bring. And that's part of my purpose, is to help these children, thrive.
Absolutely. Okay, Norma, I just want to tell you we have, about 13 minutes left, but I want to let the listeners know if there's any questions that you have for Norma. The call-in number again is 323-679-0927. And if you've been following along, or if you have any questions about the 2012 phenomenon, the ascension process, past lives, we've been talking about all kinds of things that if you don't know a portion of this, some of it don't add up or don't make sense to you. So I'm glad we're hitting on all these avenues, because it kind of puts the pieces to the puzzle together, so to speak.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like we have a caller here. If you're open to that, Norma.
I am, of course, yes.
Okay. All right, caller with the area code 661. Do you have a question for Norma?
Sure. I'll ask in regards to love life.
Yes.
What do you see in the near future?
In what? In whose future? Your future?
Yes.
Well, I'm not the kind of person that gives that kind of. I have to ask questions in order to give you any kind of. Are you in a relationship now?
I have a friend, yes.
Okay. And is this something that you've had, someone you've known for a long time?
Yes.
Okay. Someone that you're very attracted to?
Yes.
So I don't know what your hesitation is, but I'm reading the energy of hesitation, very clearly in your responses. And so I don't know what the hesitation is, but I would examine the hesitation, because hesitations would be contrary to love life. Okay, love life means being open and being flowing and allowing energy to come to you and giving energy back. But when you have hesitation, whether it's because, I really don't want to say, whatever the reason is, but the hesitation energy is an energy that would block a love life and block relationship. Does that make sense to you?
It does, because I've been divorced for 6 years, and so maybe I am hesitant.
Well, hesitant is fair. As we get older and go through experiences, we do learn to approach love a little differently. At least, I guess we do. Hopefully we do, or we get a little wiser about it. So what I tell people, love life is a subjective experience. It's an emotional experience. And making decisions about love life is often an objective experience. When you can be objective about the subjective, that's when you position yourself for the greatest amount of success. So what I suggest to do in cases like that is to write down your subjective feelings. When you're feeling in bliss or very happy about the relationship, write it down. When the relationship makes you upset or gives you confusion or challenges, write it down. And then later, when you can rise above the elevator and have a different vibration, then you can read what you wrote in a subjective mood, but read it when you're in an objective frame of mind. Then you can make your own decision about where your love life is going, whether you want the love life to go there, and what you can do about it if you want to modify it. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Okay. Well, that's what I would suggest to you. I'm not like a kind of reader that tells you about your love life and what it's going to be, but that's what I feel in your energy and what I would suggest to you to help you make the wise decision yourself about whether you're going to move forward. Because whether or not you have a love life is really your choice. Okay, it's the quality of love life that you're looking for, and you're looking to see will this person bring you the quality of love relationship that you're looking for, and you really have control over that by taking an objective perspective of your subjective feelings.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that was wonderful. Thank you, caller.
Okay.
You're very welcome.
Okay. I'm sorry about that, Norma. Were you going to say something?
No, I think if I did, it's gone. So, spirit, it kind of comes in and out, so you got to catch it when it comes.
If you don't get it right away, it's just, what was that? Oh, darn, that must not have been.
Gone.
But no, I loved how you handled that because, a lot of times, because mediums and psychics are well known because they were put out on the stage, so to speak, and rightly so, they have their place. But in situations like that, that's a personal situation that required some personal guidance. And I really loved how you provided that guidance for her.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's I'm not. They say psychics can read the energy just by hearing your voice, and I don't do that. I don't profess to do that. But I can read the energy by talking to you and hearing the energy when you come across, and that speaks volumes.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's real, so people can see it. It's not woo-woo. It's not scary. It is what it is. You were basically telling it how it is. Yeah,
it is. And we all get caught up in our subjective feelings. That's just because we're human. We all have feelings. But the thing we lose sometimes because we let our feelings make the decisions for us. But that's why I suggest write it down when you're in that feeling mode. And then when you're not in that feeling mode, or a few weeks later when energy's changed a bit, read it again. And you may laugh, you may cry, you may say, "Well, dang," or "Well, no wonder," or "This is what I should do." But that's one of the best ways I find to get because every answer anyone's looking for is within you. It's just a matter of how do you access it. And that's one way to access it, write it down.
Wonderful. Okay, great. Okay, so let me just see here. We have about 5 minutes left. And again, if there's any other callers that want to call in, I'm going to give the number one more time. And that number again is 323-679-0927. And since we only have a few minutes left here, I want to thank you for being on the show, Norma. It was wonderful. I think you presented yourself well, and I would like to give you the opportunity again to give out your website, your information, You mentioned on Tuesdays you're going to have some things going on. I like the fact that you're doing some free things too, because that will draw people in to see who you truly are. Not that you didn't present yourself well tonight, you did. I really enjoyed that. But give this information out again, and hopefully you can draw some people to you so you can do your mission, so to speak.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Joe. My website is normahollis.com, NORMAHOLLIS.com. Click number 3 to take the authenticity assessment. You'll see some blinking opportunities on the home page, and one of them is Authentic Tuesdays. You want to register for that because that'll give you the call-in number for our free calls at 5 o'clock every Tuesday. And then you also want to look at the vibrationraising.com, which is the website that shows the product that takes you through taking the assessment all the way through getting your prescription and creating your own alignment. I do want to mention that the authenticity assessment number 3, click on that. You'll take the assessment. I've got some adjustments to make on it in a couple of days, so you may not get your results right away, but I'll send it back to you when it's corrected so that you'll get all that. So don't be alarmed if you don't get the full results. It's just I got a little glitch in it for a moment, but it should be done in a couple of days. But normahollis.com. And you can also email me at coaching@normahollis.com. coaching@normahollis.com.
Great. You mentioned that you do things over the phone. So how do you handle that? Do you have the people email you first so they get a particular phone number, or do you get their phone number? You also mentioned Skype. Maybe you could go into that a little bit, because some people like the video Skype, and I don't know if you do that or not, but maybe you could speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, I do video Skype as well as phone Skype. I love video Skype, not a problem, and especially if the great thing about video Skype, it helps me to see a person's eyes when I'm talking to them, and feel their emotions in a little different way. My Skype address is NormaHollis21, NormaHollis21. So I'd be happy to take any calls on Skype or communications on Skype as well. And a lot of the calls that I do on the phone, I will record, because as you can see, sometimes it goes fast, and you can't always write it down. And when Spirit speaks through me, it's like I lost that one, it goes. So the recording is always very, very valuable, and then I send you the recording afterwards, and that's included in the cost of the assessment. And my assessments go anywhere from an hour to 90 minutes, depending on what it is, and I can do anything from one item to multiple things in one case, because I use my intuitive skills as well as my entrepreneurial background, as well as my speaking and authenticity training. So it's a very comprehensive package. And I'm just delighted to work with people. I love watching them grow.
Yeah, wonderful. Is there a phone number that you would like to give out, or how do you want to, or do you just want them to contact you via your website?
They can also call. The phone number is 323-734-7144. 323-734-7144. So now they got the website, normahollis.com, the email, coaching@normahollis.com, and the phone number, 323-734-7144.
Okay, wonderful. I want to thank you again for being on, Norma.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm on Facebook, too, Norma T. Hollis, so I'm looking forward to hearing from your people. I love, love, love talking about this stuff, and I appreciate Joe having the opportunity to do that. And this has been the fastest hour I've lived in my life.
That's how Spirit is, too. Once you get on the other side, there is no time, so it's just like bang, it goes through like crazy.
That's right.
Is there anything you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Well, I just would like to remind them about how important it is to listen and trust the voice that speaks within. And if you're doubting that voice, then one thing you have to do is just test it. Ask it to show you somebody. I had someone the other day, last week, said, if that's what I should do, show me somebody with a pink bandana. And it took a day, but that pink bandana showed up. Because spirit and vibration and all of that is about a personal relationship between you and the voices that speak with you. So create that relationship, create that voice, trust it, follow it, and just watch what happens. It's a wonderful thing.
Awesome. Okay, thank you, and it was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you. It was a pleasure for me, too. Thanks so much, Joe and Vanessa.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Okay, so Next up, we have Alfred Webre joining us, along with other guests from all over the planet who will be joining in and adding their piece to the puzzle and their individual light from that part of the world for the purpose of bringing in more global light, increasing overall consciousness, and connecting humanity like never before. So tune in as we discuss the possibilities. So right now, we are going to try to get Alfred Webre on the line here. In the meantime, I'm going to play a quick commercial here. And let me just get this off to you guys here real quick.
Have you been baffled by the ever-quickening changes all around you? Are you confused about which direction to turn? Do you question, where is this all leading? I'm Dr. Joseph Marra. All of these questions and more will be answered on my new radio talk show, A Guiding Light, every Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Tune in as we discuss the possibilities.
Okay. Alfred Webre, is that you?
Yes.
Hey, welcome to A Guiding Light.
Is that you? Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, I think I hear the radio in the background there. It's giving us a little bit of feedback, Alfred.
We just took it off.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it in such short notice.
Yeah. You know, I had to cancel 2 radio appearances yesterday because I've had laryngitis for the past 2 weeks, and even before I was a judge last week on the Vancouver 9/11 tribunal. And yesterday there was a great deal of media interest in this tribunal, and 2 2-hour radio shows, and I had to skip them because of my voice. So with your kind permission, I'm only going to say just a few words.
Absolutely.
Because right now I have to get that taken care of tomorrow. What was really odd is that the judge and 3 of the principal witnesses all got laryngitis at the same time at this trial. Isn't that strange?
Oh, yes, that's very strange. But you know what I'd like to do, Alfred, with your permission, is I don't know if you want to do the guided meditation first or if you would like to go rest, but we could do a guided global meditation now and send you energy and the other judges.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, why don't we do that?
Okay, so I'm going to put you on mute, and then I'm just going to do this guided meditation for those who are out there listening across the airways and the globe. And we're going to all focus our attention on Alfred and the other judges for the highest good of humanity. And I'll bring you back on as soon as we're done here, Alfred, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so everybody who's out there who is not driving a vehicle or a motorized vehicle, just a little disclosure there, a disclaimer there, close your eyes and take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out of your mouth. And what I'd like you to do is visualize and imagine this highest form of light from the highest sources of creation coming down from up above and radiating downward into your crown chakra, down into your brain tissue, penetrating every organ, every tissue, and every cell of your being. Feel this vibratory frequency as it oscillates with the smallest cell down to the atomic level, increasing that vibratory frequency. Allow the energy to cleanse and clear you of any negativity, any attachments, or any blockages. Allow this energy to descend downward as it opens up the crown chakra, then the third eye chakra, penetrating and radiating downward. And as this energy flows freely, again pushing out any negativity, any blockages, or any attachment. Calling upon these archangels or guides or masters or whoever you look for a higher vantage point or perspective. Those who may have a different point of view. The healers, such as Archangel Raphael and even Archangel Michael for their protection. Whoever you call upon, or simply call upon your higher self if that's what you believe in, or God, or the universe. Allow this energy to flow freely downward, down into your sinus cavities, into your eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, down into your throat. And everybody collectively across the planet, focus their energies collectively together. Visualize and imagine their energies, your energies, combining, directing it towards Alfred Webre and all the other judges on the tribunal to release this blockage so that they may speak their truth in their highest integrity, for the highest love of humanity and for the earth. Allow this energy to continue downward as it opens up this throat chakra and all the other chakras of the body that are spinning harmoniously and communicating perfectly with one another, penetrating every organ, every tissue, and every cell. Allow this energy to continue downward, descending down into the heart chakra, opening up that heart chakra, penetrating the heart tissue, the lung tissue, all the other organs of the abdomen as it descends downward into the solar plexus chakra, the liver and the spleen and the bladder and the gallbladder and all the other organs of the abdomen, down to the very cellular structure of your being, turning on that DNA. Visualize and imagine that you're this beacon of light and you're part of the world. And you can picture from the United States and Australia and South America and Canada all coming online as though there's this network of light, this love of light, connecting together, unifying, communing, all of humanity together as one. Allow this energy of love and light to continue downward, down into the sacral region, opening up that sacral chakra, then down into your root chakra, opening up the root, and allow this energy to flow freely downward, down the thighs and the knees, down the bottoms of your legs and out the bottoms of your feet. Allow this energy to continue downward into Mother Earth. And as you tap into Mother Earth, you ground yourself. Visualize and imagine that you're taking in all this energy of love and light from the high sources of creation. And as it goes down into Mother Earth, down to the centralized crystalline core of Mother Earth, you magnify and intensify this energy. And with her love of light, sending it back to you. And as it goes into your feet and radiates upwards, ascending up your legs and your knees and thighs and connecting at the root chakra, then the solar plexus and the sacral, then back up to the solar plexus, then the heart. And as this energy mixes and blends there, you have this connection of love and light from Mother Earth and from the high source of the creation. And as we are beings of love and light, and as we work from the heart, this blending and this raising in vibratory frequency, visualize and imagine this love of light as it radiates out of your heart, connecting to your neighbors within your local community, and then your county, and then your state, and then your country. And as you see this energy and this love of light connect throughout the globe, from an outsider's point of view, you can visually imagine that you're outside the earth in the atmosphere looking at Mother Earth as though she's a bright star of love and light, raising the vibratory frequency of everyone and everything on the planet. including the rock formations, the trees, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, humanity, the interdimensional beings, the star families, and all the other beings of love and light. And as everything is connected as one, and we are in this dualistic world of good, bad, hot, cold, up, down, imagine this love of light penetrating, radiating towards the people of fear, those who may not have had our greatest good or interest in mind, but allow them to take on this love of light and this vibratory frequency of love to help transmute the energy that they may carry in love and light, if it is in their highest and greatest good. Now take a moment and take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out the mouth. Take a moment to be quiet just for a second and feel the vibratory frequency of your body. Feel yourself connected to Mother Earth. Feel your divinity and this tapping into this higher source of your higher self from the higher sources of creation. Feel the love that vibrates and radiates across the globe. For all are one. Now visualize and imagine what you would like our world to be as love. Only focus on those things of love. Cast away fear and doubt. That's a thing of the past. Only focus on love and light. Now, visualize and imagine that all the energies are pulling back now to each individual person, pulling your energy back from Mother Earth, pulling your energy back from the highest source of creation, and as it comes down and into your body, you feel this centeredness, this oneness, this connection to all things. Have gratitude for this experience, for you participating in this event to help raise the vibratory frequency of the planet, of humanity, and of the entire cosmos. Now, take a few more deep breaths in through the nose and out the mouth. If there were any blockages or attachments, they're gone. If it takes your energy centers a day or so to be alleviated, such as the throat chakra, so it is. Drink plenty of clear fluids, especially water, and eat more natural foods that are naturally occurring from the planet, such as the leafy greens and the vegetables and the fruits. These are in a higher vibration, and as you ingest them, you help raise your own vibratory frequency. And by doing that, each individual person raises their frequency, and the people that they communicate with or walk their path, it helps them raise to their level, and it's a domino effect across the planet. Thank all of those guides and masters that assisted us. Thank yourself. Be an unconditional love of yourself, and then unconditional love of everyone else on the planet and everything. And a few more deep breaths through the nose and out the mouth. And when I count to 3, you're going to feel refreshed, revitalized, and in perfect health. 1, wiggling your fingers and toes. 2, taking one more deep breath in through the nose and out the mouth. 3, waking up, feeling refreshed, revitalized, and in perfect health. Okay. So hopefully we were able to spread this love of light across the planet. And Again, this isn't something that is only going to affect people in the here and now. For those who hear the recordings and they participate in this, it's going to be just as effective. So whoever wants to participate in this in the near future, I'm going to post it on my website or my YouTube. And if there's anybody else, you perfectly have permission to just take it and run with it so that we can change this planet for what we truly want, and that's love and light. Alfred, are you with us?
Yes, I am, and thank you. I feel much more expanded and light, and I'm very grateful for having been privileged to participate in this and for all the energy sent to the 9/11 Vancouver Tribunal and the community, worldwide community that's involved in this tribunal of conscience.
Well, you're welcome. And, Alfred, if there's anything, I understand that you have a few things you want to say, and I respect your time and your health. And so I'm just going to let you talk whatever you want to say tonight. That's great. And of course, I'd like to invite you back in the near future whenever, I would like to maybe start doing these things every Sunday. And if it's an event that you would like to participate in the future and you can, you're invited anytime.
Thank you very, very much. For today, I'd just like to say that it's my perception that we're on a positive timeline. If people want to give it a shape, it's 2012 to 2025, and that there may be fragments of catastrophic timelines that interests are trying to play out now, but that all of us, by committing to a positive timeline, can make this happen. And so I just envisioned a world in which people took responsibility for creating a positive Earth. And that's all I'd like to say and what I'd like to say.
Thank you, Alfred. I really appreciate you coming on board here. And I'll be in touch. I'll be sending you some love and light. And please, to all of those listeners out there that have heard this and participated, send your love and light to Alfred and the rest of the tribunal so it helps the rest of humanity and our planet as well as participants. Thank you, Alfred.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. There you have it. I'm going to go to a commercial real quick here, and we'll be right back on.
Have you been baffled by the ever-quickening changes all around you? Are you confused about which direction to turn? Do you question, where is this all leading? I'm Dr. Joseph Marra. All of these questions and more will be answered on my new radio talk show, A Guiding Light, every Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Tune in as we discuss the possibilities.
If you want to stay up to date with everything going on inside ATW, Awakening Truth Worldwide, you can join us on Facebook at facebook.com/Awakening Truth Worldwide. Here you'll find updates about upcoming live and on-demand online workshops, as well as conferences, special guests, and upcoming radio shows. There's so much to explore, so stay up to date at facebook.com/Awakening Truth Worldwide. Like our page and take the next step along your path of awakening.
Okay, welcome back to A Guiding Light. And since Alfred Webre had to leave us early tonight, I'm just going to open up the phone lines here real quick to see if anybody has any questions in regards to the 2012 phenomenon, the ascension process. I'm here with my co-host Vanessa De Silva, and the call-in number is 323-679-0927. If you'd like to respond to the meditation that we just did, if you participated, if you had any physical effects or any thoughts that entered your mind that you'd like to call in to discuss, please call in. If you have any questions, if you need any clarification or guidance, if we can help you, we would love to answer your questions. Again, that number is 223-679-0927. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have any callers yet, so I'm going to go into what's going to happen next week, which is Sunday, July 1st, another special event. In the first hour, there will be a discussion between those light workers who would like to participate in changing this world for the better. We'll be discussing things like, what are the most recent updates for our ascension process? What can be expected to happen in the coming days, weeks, and months? And are we truly at a pivotal point in human history? In the second hour, we'll have another guided meditation directed by myself, Dr. Marra. So I'm going to ask one more time if there's anybody that has any questions. The call-in number is 323-679-0927. And as I refresh the page here, looks like we'll be having you tune in next week. And until then, I'm Dr. Joseph Marra.
And I'm Vanessa De Silva.